I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to say? I came here 25, 30 years ago and fell in love with this town. And I said to Libby, I'm going to do something I've never done. And that is, I prepared comments tonight through my mother's eyes. My mother died in September at 102. She had a great run. And I said to her, what do you think, after all these years that you spent with my father, what do you think are the most important things about a ballpark? And she said, Maya Angelou, that in 35 years or 100 years, nobody will remember what we said, but they will remember how you made it feel. And if you notice, one of the things that Vince and I were talking about the whole time up here, which was gossiping, is the feeling in this room. Because there are so many friends of this ball club and so many people who have become friends. So, according to my mother, who lived through some really scary times. I mean, my father owned the St. Louis Browns, which was the worst ball club in the history of the world. For a crowd this size, the St. Louis Browns, they'd have come to your home and played. In fact, they'd have played a doubleheader. I mean, he was proud of it. And the phone rang once, and they had a fight over it. And my mom, of course, won, and she answered the phone. She goes, St. Louis Browns, how may I help you? And the lady on the other end goes, I want to buy a dozen tickets to see the Browns. My mother was absolutely, she couldn't believe it. She said, really? And the lady said, what time's the Browns game start? My mom said, what time's convenient for you to get here? She said, what seats can I get? My mom said, how about second base? We haven't used that all year. I mean, this woman had a tough life. This was not 102 easy years. And it made me realize how inspirational, thanks for the words, Ed, how inspirational my mother and father in their love affair have been over the course of my life. And the notes that I made are simple. When you come to a ballpark, you come with dreams, like Sean. He's coming, he's going to be looking at that picture every day until you rip it down in anger. You can call him and go, take that! And there's no pressure. I mean, it'll be easy. Not a problem. But the first thing that you have to do in a ballpark is have heroes and have dreams. This ballpark, this was a dream before they built it. And Joe Riley, Joe Riley just had a birthday. Right, Gator? Is he?
Joe, I don't know what he had.
He had a birthday. It's not like a disease. Yeah, I mean, what would you say? He had a birthday. Joe Riley. So this is how I knew. I'm a Chicago guy. You know, in Chicago, we announce the winners of our elections, and then we vote in that order. We're not ashamed of it. So I come here, and I meet Joseph B. Riley. He's got a Henry Aaron ball sitting behind his desk, out in the open, in the air. And I said, Mayor, you should have this in a ball cube. And he goes, Michael? I never met a guy who can make your name 14 syllables. He's like, Michael? He said, I'll tell you what, I've just been so busy, but I'll make sure I get over there. So I sent him a ball cube the next day. 2 days later, he sends me a check for 99 cents. I thought to myself, man, these guys are in good hands with this food. Joe Riley. A good ballpark has secrets. When you leave tonight, you listen, and you'll hear the magic. There are two times that a ballpark is at its very best, when it's full and we three-peat. You got the look down already. Come on, Vince, you know. You don't have to count yet. Okay, when we three-peat. You know what I mean? So, I think, where does this go? These dreams, it's conversations. And that's what you hear when you leave the ballpark, for the conversations. Think of all of the deals that have been done and all the love that's been made and all of the wonderful things that have happened in this ballpark. Things that are important. When my daddy was a little boy, this is my mother's favorite story. My dad would go down into the box office at Wrigley Field with his father. And one day, my grandfather took the till and he threw the money all over the big counting table, as long as this. And he said to my father, he said, "Bill, what color is that money?" You know, we wanted to please our fathers, and my dad, he looked at it and he said, it's green. And my grandfather said, "What color is the man who put that money in your till?" And my dad looked at it, and he looked at it, and he said, "I don't know." 100 years later, Joe Riley called us and said, after the mother of Emmanuel shootings, to have a ball game. To have a ball game so that people could start to heal. Winning is the best promotion there is. And when we three-peat, we'll be here enjoying this. But more importantly, it's a place to gather. It's a place to do this. Did you ever think that fun would be in shorter demand? That we need it more? And we do. So, it's a wonderful place for heroes. It's a wonderful place for dreams. But the conversations are what make this the great game. The conversations. And I thought, how does that end? And the conversations become memories. The greatest experiences of my life have been in ballparks. I courted my wife Libby in the ballpark. I watched my son work here. I watched my daughter. That's what it means to me. And I think that's what it means to all of us. That's what Charleston is at its best. It's the people. It's how welcoming we are. It's this building. My father had a wooden leg. I wanted to honor him quietly. He lost his leg in the war. He was a Marine. We had a lot of fun. It was like being raped by Long John Silver. I mean, we used to go to the pool when it opened. It was very exciting because he was the only dad who could take his leg off, hop to the edge of the pool and swim the length of it underwater. Kids would go home. Can you imagine? Take your leg off, Dad. We were not well liked at school. But then my father saw an opportunity because he was married to my mother. So he did have some intellectual prowess. And one day all the kids in the neighborhood were there, and he said, "Mary, get me a 10-penny nail." And Mary ran off and came back. She didn't know what a 10-penny nail was. She just came back with a nail. She was my dad. My dad said, "John, I need a ball peen hammer." And John's gone for like a week. Comes back with a hammer. And my dad takes that 10-penny nail and that hammer and drives that baby into his wooden leg. And he looks at all the kids who are like, and he said, Go home and see if your old man can do that. We are at our best when we're doing this. When we're laughing and we're enjoying one another. It's been a long run. I never thought that fun would be more necessary than ever. I thought it was just a silly little line. But it's not a silly line. It's not at all. It's passed on from mother to son to grandson. It's what makes us human. Thank you.